guys, this is Dr. Wendy Coburn at One Village Family Chiropractic in Edmonton. I'm going to discuss with you some exercises you can do to help create some more motion through your hips, your pelvis, and start supporting and strengthening your neurospinal system. So I see lots of individuals that have had microdiscectomies, that have had sciatica. I've had that myself in the past, piriformis syndrome, loss of range of motion, and then the actual hip where the upper leg comes into the pelvis itself. Chronic low back stuff, acute low back stuff, a variety of different things, and they're trying to find things to support themselves. So there's lots of different things, but you want to make sure, first you're talking to your healthcare provider, your chiropractor, whoever's caring for you, to make sure the instructions are appropriate for you based on what's going on with you in terms of sets and frequency and whatnot. There's different tools that you can use. Definitely wanting to do things on the floor. You can even start, if you're really having lots of issues, on something like a sit disc. You can sit on this on a chair, and it creates motion to draw water into your discs, increasing blood flow to the area through the sacrum, which is the bottom of the spine, into the lower back, into the actual hip sockets a little bit, right? There's no discs in there, of course, but getting and warming up the area just with some little gentle bits of movement as well. And for some, that could be even excruciating on its own. It is something that can be beneficial and a good place to start. And you just start a few minutes a day and build your way up. When you have had a baby, totally different. You're very vulnerable in your tailbone and your pelvic floor. So these are also very useful as well, right? You can get them on Amazon, different ones. There's ones by Guyam as well that are flat on one side. They're a little easier, and then some that are round on both edges, right? But they're filled with air. You want to get a couple different tools, something that is a little squishy that you can potentially put under your low back to give it some support if you need. Maybe not as big as this or as thick as this if you're first starting out. At the same time, it can also make things more challenging too, right? So you got to trial and error, but also work with your, as I said, healthcare provider. And have this is called a Pilates ball. It is more full, but it's still soft, that you can use to engage and use between your ankles through creating movement. So you're creating micro movement to activate short muscles, also to stabilize through the pelvis while you're creating range of motion through the hips. So again, this is just a few exercises. This is not everything, but this is something to get you started. You can even start without anything, just using your own body and putting your hands behind your lower back. So if you have trouble when you're laying on your back and you're feeling like your low back's hitting into the floor, you can use your hands, making kind of a diamond or a triangle, just to put under your pelvis, your hips, if that's what you call it, in your language, just to stabilize that as you're lifting and maneuvering your legs. So we're just gonna start. I'm gonna lay down here and start with some really basic things. So here we go. So I'm gonna start, guys, very beginner, just putting your hands in that triangle, and you're gonna put it under your lower back here just to stabilize. Feet are flat on the floor, holding your pelvis in neutral. You're not trying to arch your back, you're not trying to push your low back into the floor or anything. You're just sitting in neutral and natural position for you. And what you're gonna do, just to start even, is just lift your leg and lower it down. And lift your leg and lower it down. And for some of you, this is going to be super hard because it creates pain, stiffness, soreness, or you don't have that range of motion in your hips, your low back, whatever it is. Some of you, it's super easy. You're going to be like, oh my goodness, come on, let's get moving. But nice and slow, nice and controlled movements up and down in both directions is a key just to get and warm up the low back. And you want to try and keep your low back, your middle spine, everything in neutral, so you're not twisting and turning or even going into a C position with your hips and your low back. You may start to feel that with one side being more dominant than the other. If you do 5 or 10 repetitions of that nice and slow and controlled, fantastic. Next, you can bring the leg up, and if you can take it and straighten it to where you want. The key though is to keep your pelvis as neutral as you can. You don't want to flex in the abdomen, lowering the low back, and then gently bend and bring it back down, lifting up, keeping the spine where it was in neutral, not flexing, not extending, lifting and holding, and bringing back down. You can do that for 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 repetitions, whatever you want to do. You're just engaging and activating and sequencing muscles, right? Nice and slow and controlled movement for you. From that position, you can then straighten one leg out, depending whichever one you want. I'll switch back, so use the one that's closest to you. From this position, you can either put a block or you can use one of the objects, the balls that I shared with you. Just gonna lift your foot and put it down. I'm just gonna move a chair that by my foot. Lift your foot and put it down. You're just gently moving it like you're lifting it up and over something, nice and slow. If that's too hard, you can gently bend your leg and just do it lift and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower. The more challenging is the lift and lower. Again, starting with 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 15 repetitions. Start slow and easy. You want to do a sequence of different exercises. If you only have to do a few minutes, you can do 2 exercises with more repetitions and sets, or you can do one of each exercise with 1 set of different repetitions as well. You can do and modify to whatever you want. Then you're going to do the other side as well. Same thing, you're just going straight up and down. You're trying to lift from your abdomen and the actual hip socket itself right in through here. Nice and slow, keeping your pelvis, your low back nice and neutral. Awesome, fantastic. So again, just warming things up a little bit. One that's very, very common that a lot of people have seen that is on social media that's great for getting them moving and warming up the hips as well. Even just sitting like this, right? And then using your hands on the ground to slide and move your legs over, or eventually, right? Going from here and just going to side to warm up and move the hips, right? Those are more challenging and more advanced and harder to do because you have to have nice obliques that are nice and strong and stable, so you're not straining your tailbone, your sacrum at the bottom of your spine, not landing and sitting right on your coccyx bone, which can set off a storm of dysfunction and pain as well. The other one that you can do as well is with the ball, going back on your back. This is where a little yoga disc, or often little circles, would be beneficial if you're struggling to put your sacrum, which is the bottom of your spine, right on the floor and you're laying on your back, just to put it underneath there to give you cushion, because you may need your arms on each side to stabilize, but definitely to put the ball between your legs. So this one is going to be moving your one leg through a range of motion, and the ball is what you're going to be moving up and down your leg. So you can start one leg straight, one leg bent, hands on your side if you wish, or if you want, you can get your hands back underneath your sacrum just to give you some support, and then alternating legs, creating a range of motion while you're trying to keep your legs in the air. So this is going to be really, really challenging for some of you. Low back is neutral, you're not extending, you're not flexing, just coming in and out, creating different motion. You can do it so your foot is on top of the other one, rotate and come on top. I'm going to do up and down the side as well. So you can do that with as many repetitions as you want on each side, while holding and stabilizing your low back, keeping your pelvis in neutral position. You can keep your obliques engaged. Again, not flexing or extending your low back, keeping your tailbone in neutral. Again, you're trying to get and move that femur around as much as you can. You can also, and I'm going to have my back to you here, I'm going to be facing the wall. Put the ball up against the wall with your foot and make some circles. So if that one is too hard and too advanced for you, you would already know, because the first couple exercises would be challenging, but you can spin this direction. And from this position, make circles. You can put your hands again under your low back or use a cushion, going under the tailbone, keeping your pelvis nice and neutral, nice and controlled, nice and slow, nice and smooth circles, going in both directions. You can also go up and down and up and down, coming across the other direction. Just being careful and conscientious of your knee. Just creating motion through the femur itself, which is again the upper leg coming into the pelvic socket, right up and through here. And then doing little circles. You can do it with your leg a little straighter. I have mine bent. And then switching over to the other side. Same thing. Doing circles in this direction, going in the other direction, and then going up and down in different diagonals. You can also create a box if you want, coming down, across, and up. Again, holding your low back in neutral position. Try not to rotate or twist or lift either side of your pelvis. This either side of your pelvis is staying neutral. Again, you might have a cushion under it or your hands underneath if you need to. Maybe you have lots of arthritis in through your low back, through your, what's called your SI joints or your hip socket. So it's going to be a little more challenging or potentially uncomfortable. You may have some weakness in the different muscles as well. You can alternate and shift and move. You can also walk down the wall with the ball, walk up the wall with the ball, and all the way down. And bringing the leg out to the side if you wish. Same thing, carrying the ball, going out to the side and coming back up. There's a variety of different things that you can do to recruit and activate different muscles to support you while maintaining a neutral middle, right? Maintaining that your obliques are staying tight, your lower abdominal muscles, keeping your spine neutral so you're not flexing or extending it, not tucking your tailbone, not doing any pelvic tilts. But again, you might be protecting that sacrum or putting a small yoga block or even rolling or folding up a bath towel just to give it some support, right? Because depending what's going on, just the sensation of having your low back or your spine on the yoga mat or the floor can be quite uncomfortable if it is really, really subluxated or locked or has had trauma or a lot of arthritis in it. So you want to protect it so you're not bringing on a reaction or a response because it is sensitive or sore. But working on those is a good start to get those hips moving. There are many, many, many more out there, but just doing those small incremental ones day to day to warm up the actual femur in the socket itself. Play with them, modify them. If you have questions, ask. If you want to have a one-on-one so we can see where you're at and where you want to go with it and how you can advance it for you, reach out to us, guys. We're here. We want to help you succeed in your health. Healthier individuals create healthier families, healthier communities, and healthier, happier places to live. Thanks for watching, and like and share and follow us. Take care.